say today? Oh, take that.
Welcome to Clean Air Vapors, and my name is Tim Hade, and let's get started on today's issues. Now, what we're going to do is let's go to your store and open it up. Let's go to the project, and we're automatically in the inventory management section because that's kind of where I left off anyway. Inventory. So we're actually, the inventory management is under the inventory admin, so we probably need to change that. Now I have made some minor changes to this admin section. What I did was I removed, let's go through it. I made this SKU a little bit bigger. I went ahead and removed the ID, but I left the product ID in place, and I just kind of put things around a little bit different. But what I want to do is, one thing that I really want to do is I want to go ahead and change the name so that we know that this is the administrator section. So we're going to just go ahead and take this, and we will type in administrator. What's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of funny because I actually should have known. So we will just go ahead and call it a administrator portal, even though that's not the word I was looking for. And if it's not the word you were looking for, then we're probably both on the same page, and changing it will not be that big a deal. So now we know that there's a difference between these two. So if we go to inventory, it'll say Inventory Management Center, and that's for the management. And here it is, the administrator portal. The difference is, and let's just exit the layout really quick, is I can come in and change as the administrator. I can change any number that I want to. So if I believe that this minimums is too much or too low, I can change it to, let's say, 20. And all of a sudden it's changed. It's an automatic effect. And then if I go to the inventory, it automatically changed it to 20. So some of the things that we want to do right away is we need to start working on a we need to make some modifications to a script. So let's very first, I'm trying to do this as fast as I can, just so that we can get this underway. But let's go to our script center, and let's go to the 1000 hot dog and section. And as soon as you get there, what we're going to do is we're going to make some changes to this script. And the reason why is when we very first built this script, we built it to do a job, but now we want this to do another job. We want it to do something else as well. So what we're going to do is we want to, after we perform the find, and from here, we're probably going to want to look at, let's put an if statement here. So let's say if, and what we're going to do is just kind of play along with me, because you're going to find out what we're doing. And what we're trying to do with this is we're trying to populate this reorder box. So we want to make sure that that we know when we need to get things done. So if inventory location stock 1 is less than or equal to the minimum field, then what do we want that to do? Well, we want it to set a field. And the field that we want it to set in the inventory is going to be our reorder box. And the calculated results that we want are you can do whatever you want with this, but I like to use the word low stock, or the words low stock. And now what will happen is if this inventory, if the location stock is less than the inventory minimum, it'll set a field that for a reorder box, and that field will be low stock. So this field will populate with that. Now I clicked on the end if because we're going to add another if statement, and that's so that we can reset the box. So let's go back in here and let's say if location 1 stock is greater than or equal to the minimum field, and the location 2 stock is greater than or equal to the minimum 2. And the reason why we did that, the reason why we added so much there is because we don't want it to erase what we've put into this reorder box unless both requirements are met. So that's the reason why we added that. So from here we would then set a field, and that field is going to be the reorder box again. And this time the calculated result is basically going to be a clear. So just the quotation marks, and we are done with that. Now, an issue that I did have when I was going through the program and I was kind of working on what I was going to do for today's, I found that what was happening, and I'm sure you saw it in one of the other videos, is that this field wasn't populating everything. We weren't showing all of the records. It just started to show one particular record, and it was typically the one that I was looking at. So what we need to do is we need to go down to this very last end if just before the go to layout invoice 1 register. And we need to type in, we need to go search on the bar, and we're looking at show all records. And what that does is by doing that, that will restore all of the records in this particular field. Now we can we press Control and then S, and that will save it, as you can tell. And now if we exit, and we exit the layout, and we look at here we have a stock of 12. So in the, let's go to the administrator. So let's go here and let's type in 25. Better delete all the rest of those first. So 25. Now our plain hot dogs, we have 25 of them in stock, and our minimum quantity is 20. So and let's see what happens if we order, or if we sell 5 of them. So let's go to our menu, and let's put in 5 hot dogs. We'll go to the invoice. There's 5 hot dogs there. Now you can, how we get rid of this, how we clean this up, is we're already on invoice 1005. Shows you how much tax we have. Is we just select new record, and it will erase that. Now it keeps the record, as you can see up here. There are 6 total records on my screen because I've actually done some testing with it, but there are 6 actual records, and you can go through all of those records and see them all, whatever you want to do. So from here, let's go back to our inventory and find out what happened. So we will sort the records, and stock 1 and the minimum one, or the minimum, is 20, so they're even Steven. Now let's see what happens to it if we sell just 1. So we'll go back to the menu. We will just sell 1. We're just going to push the button. It should automatically sell 1 hot dog. Quantity 1, there it is. And we'll start a new record. So that basically sets it. Now if we go to our inventory slip and we sort the records, it should have said, it did not say that, basic food, so it did not populate that field. Let's go back to scripts and find out what it is that we missed. So if the inventory location 1 stock is less than the inventory minimum, set the field inventory reorder box to low stock. That should have worked. Should have worked. So let's find out if inventory is, and look at that, we did make a mistake. No, we did not make a mistake. This one is correct, and inventory location, inventory minimum 2, so that one is correct. This one, let's look at this one. Location 1 stock is less than inventory minimum. That is correct. I wonder if it updated. Let's control save. Let's close out of this. Let's exit the layout. Let's go to our menu 1. Let's sell 5 hot dogs. Go to the invoice. We'll create a new record. Now we'll go back to the inventory and sort the records. Now we can, and now it is showing. Now it is showing the low stock. You can see the low stock now. So I wonder just exactly what the deal with that was. Maybe it just had to refresh. Anyway, so here we now have this low stock, but as you can see, it's just kind of stuck there. So what do we need to do with that? So let's go into edit the layout, and we'll click on it, and then we will right click on it. Now let's do some conditional formatting. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a conditional formatting. And we're going to go to the formula. And then we want to specify a formula. So the formula that we are going to want to put in here is actually I don't want to put I don't want to do this formula because I don't think this is going to. Let's cancel this. Let's cancel that. Let's not do that. Let's do this. Let's go to the stock 1 and let's create a conditional format for that, because this is what we really want to do. So let's add one. I'll say formula is, and we'll specify the formula, and we'll say if the location 1 stock is less than or equal to the minimum, and we'll say OK. So if this occurrence, if this actually happens, what do we want to happen? Well, let's make this field bold, and let's change the color to yellow, to a very bright yellow. And now, if we were to exit the layout, we will see that this is an automatic, it's yellow in color. Now this field, what we can do with that is, let's just click on it, and then let's go over here, and we'll make this a red with a bold. And now if we exit the layout, it will say low stock here. So it's kind of a warning thing. And what we can do is we can take this sort record. So let's do that. Let's grab the, we're going to click on it, control drag. We're going to make another one of these just above it. We're going to double click on it. And we will type in the words low stock. And I believe it is a hand over button, cursor to hand over button. And I'm going to change it to a bright yellow outline. I like to change the colors of these because I like them to be very different. I think that's probably a little not quite enough. So So now, as you can see, they're very different, and we can put the low stock one over here if we want to. I think that's probably the best bet. And now we're going to double click on it because what do we want it to do? Well, we don't want it. We can have the sort sort if you want to, which is just fine. But let's, instead of sorting it by the category, let's clear that and let's sort it by the reorder box. And then we will have this in ascending order. Because the other day I kind of messed up. If it's ascending, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G as it goes down. If it's descending, it goes the opposite direction. No big deal. So we will OK that, and we will get out of it. And now if we exit the layout and we low stock, it will automatically go to that. But it put it on the bottom. That's kind of interesting. So let's change that to, let's double click it, go here, go back here, beat, specify the order, click on this. Let's go descending order and see what happens. Because we really want to put these up at the very top. We want them to be at the very top. So let's sort the records so they're back to where they were. And then let's press low stock. There it is. Now it's at the top. So what will happen is all of your low stock items will be right at the very top as you list them out. And then you know which store it's in because that particular store is highlighted with a yellow. So let's go back and we will do the I don't know why I double clicked that because I'm kind of weird, but let's put a conditional formatting on store 2, and if you remember what it was that we did before, we press the add button, we come down to formula is, and we specify. And now we want if the location to stock is less than or equal to the minimum to button or the minimum to field, we want that to be bold and we want the color to be yellow. So now if this were the occurrence over here, let's just sort them out so we can see them. Let's go to the inventory admin and let's, if the minimum order, so let's take this and we will take it down to 12. And we will exit the layout. Exit the layout to reset it. And let's go to back to the inventory one. Now, remember, if you're putting conditional formatting on one of these, and you see how this has all happened, you see how this is different. If we go to the inventory admin, it hasn't changed. So you have to put that conditional formatting into this one as well. Something that you can do is you can erase this particular portal if you want to, and you can just recreate the other one. You can just copy it or duplicate it and then call it the administrator portal. Personally myself, I don't really care to do that. I prefer to just go ahead and make them individuals because I really like to make sure that not what I wanted to do. I really like to make sure that they are completely different from each other, that they're not even doing the same thing. So we're just going to kind of go through here really fast. We're just going to say if location 1 stock is less than or equal to the minimum, and we'll be all right. We're going to bold it, and we want it to be bright yellow. That will be good. And then here, the conditional formatting, add formula is, specify, just kind of going as fast as I can, is less than or equal to the minimum. hope that I did that correctly. Minimum 2, then we want bold, and we want bright yellow. Now if we exit the field, there they are. So now going back to the regular inventory, there they are. Now we added this low stock button, and this is a really cool thing. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight this button. I'm going to press Control C, or you could come down here and just say I want to copy that. And now if we go from here to the admin and we just click on it and then we right click on it, we can paste it, and there it pops up. And the wonderful thing about it is it will actually do the same thing. So here we are, we've sorted our records. If we press the low stock button, bam, it happens. So we can just put that back exactly the way it was, edit the layout, and this particular one, I just want to make sure that those are all lined up exactly correct. I like to make sure it's right, because you may need another button. So we'll just go ahead and we'll call it good. This button I obviously needed to change to a greenish color. I like the different colors, I guess. It's kind of a personal thing that I like to do. So some of the other things that we need to do is we need to, let's go to our invoice one. And if you remember correctly, when we were in our invoice one and we charged something, so if we go to the menu and we charge a single hot dog and we come over, and this field is populated, it's pre-populated with this number that happens to be this identical number. If you want to get rid of this, if you don't want this to be here, what we need to do is we need to manage our database. We need to go in and make some minor changes to our invoice. So let's go to the invoice, and let's go to the change due, and let's click on that, and let's say let's type in an if statement, press enter, and so if let's erase all of this stuff, delete. Now let's type if, enter, and now we're going to say is empty. So the test, we'll just highlight just the test. We're going to do is empty, press enter, and that's going to want to know what field that we want. So if we are so if is empty, the field, the tendered field, then we want to, the result that we want is to be nothing in there. So we'll just go ahead and erase that, and we'll replace it with a quotation marks. Otherwise, and that's kind of what this little thing stands for, is otherwise we want it to be the tendered amount minus the grand total, and we will call that OK, and we will call that OK, and we will exit the layout. And so now it is gone, and if we were to go in here and add $10, say they gave you a $10 bill, it will automatically populate that with the change, which is $6.33. And new record to get rid of it. Let's go back to the menu, and we will charge a hot dog, and we'll go to the invoice, and you can see it did not populate the change field. And this time they gave us $5, and so we type in 5, and the change is $1.33. So new record. We're just getting rid of those records while we're testing the system. So if we go from here to the inventory, now what had happened, or what does happen here, is that we see all of our records are they're jumbled up, and we have to press the sort records, resort records all the time. So let's go make a, let's go back to our invoice page. And this is not where we want to be. Where is it? So going to the inventory. So we go to the back office. Did we build a back? We did build a back office, did we not? We did. So let's go back to that inventory and we will edit that. We will double click on this and we will say single step. And it will be go to the layout, and that layout will be our back office layout, and we'll call that good. Change cursor to hand over button. Now when we exit the layout, we can go straight to there, and then from there we go to this inventory page, and then we go to the list view. Now it kind of is a long-winded circle, but you can add a button here that would cause you to just go straight to the list view if you wanted to. But remember, this is the management section, and in the management section, this is kind of where we want them to end up, and they go from, because they'll go from this list view back to a particular product, and then back to the list view, and then back to a particular product, so that they will make changes as they see that. So that's kind of how that works. We can go to the menu, we can create new records. Now one of the things that you may want to do is you may want to either create, on this new records thing, you may want to create a stop or a certification. So you may want to be like, we may want to create a script, I guess is what I'm saying. So that in order to create a new record, you first have to put a number in here, or you first have to do something of that sort. Currently, we'll just leave it as new record, so that because we understand that whoever pushes this button is obviously knows what they're doing. So one thing that we will do with this button is I truly want to change the color of the button, because it's a much different button and it's dead in the center, and I want to make absolutely positive that this button is exactly what is very clearly outlined. So let's go to our inspector, let's go to our appearance, let's go to this color, and we're going to add a very light yellow at the bottom, and we are going to add a very bright red at the top, and then in the center we're going to kind of pull those apart a little bit. We're going to make this a kind of a burnt orange, and this one a lighter burnt orange. And now it sticks out like crazy, and we are going to surround it with a red that is a 2-line thickness. So now it really, really, really sticks out, as you can see how pretty that is. But our text color is obviously very, very wrong. So we will need to be able to see what it says. So you can pick anything that you want to. You can pick a purple color if you think that a purple color will work well for you. I personally think that a very dark color, probably a pretty red color, will stick out nicely and will actually show that. And leaving it right in the center like that is probably a good idea. That way you know that when you go to this record, when you go to this button, that it is obviously will create a new that's going to create a new record. So we did that. Some of the other things that we should probably do is let's go to the menu 1 page. And now that we're on the menu 1 page, we need to edit the layout and we need to grab a field. And that field that we want to grab is the identifier field. And we're just going to stick it out here. We're going to close her down and we're going to click off of it. We're going to get rid of this identifier because we don't need the identifier even at all for any reason whatsoever. And the identifier we are going to make pretty small. Let's just make it probably about that size. And what I want to do with this identifier is I want to bring it way down here to the absolute bottom. And I want to make it probably a 14. I don't want it to be too big. I don't want it to be too big. Let's go in. We need to set those buffers. So let's just let's delete the top one and let's delete the bottom one. See what that does. Nothing. Won't let us delete them. Okay. So here is the identifier, and if we exit the layout, there's obviously nothing in it. It's just a little blue box. We're going to use this identifier in our next video or sometime in the next video. And what we're going to do is, if this is register 2, so if we copy this from here on, which is exactly what we're going to do, is we're going to copy it. And we will go into the script and we will write an addition to our script that basically says, if there is something in this identifier, I know you're tired of ifs, but you kind of need to have them quite a bit. So if there is something in this identifier, like the numeral 2, now we do need to make sure that we can't, right now we want to go ahead and leave it on browse mode. But in the future we want to make sure that it is removed from browse mode. But so if we put the numeral 2 in here, then our script would basically say, let's go to script really fast. We're not going to make the change now, but we would say, because here we've already got a freeze window, and then if is empty, and this is our quantity window, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're going there. So we would go here and we would add those if statements here. And what they would do for us is we would be able to use the same script for both of these pages. So we either this page or the let's see, either this page or the page for register 2, which will be identical to the register 1 page. So if there's something in here, it will use the same script, but it will change where it goes. So instead of going to location 1, it will go to location 2. And I will show you how to do that. And we're also going to probably reduce that script by a little bit, because we're going to say, we're going to put this in there and say, if you push this button on and on and all these other things, perform this script or perform that script. So we'll get there. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope that I've been of some help and just not rambled on and on and on. It's kind of hard not to, but there is so much information. I look forward to our next video. And like I said, in the next video, we're going to start really increasing things. By the end, we will put in a bunch of other reports and things for us to actually get onto. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.